Personnel from across the region, including the Caribbean and North America, are presently in Belize, where they are attending TradeWinds 2015. Phase 2 of the annual exercise is being hosted by the Belize Defense Force and aims to provide humanitarian assistance in the wake of natural disasters, bolstering the regional response to narco-trafficking and supporting domestic law enforcement operations. After a delayed arrival by sea earlier today, a detachment of Mexican soldiers gathered information at Price Barracks, where they boarded a heavy-lift aircraft en route to Mountain Pine Ridge. Their rendezvous point, Guacamayo Bridge. First Lieutenant Tyler Hopkins is the Public Affairs Officer for the U.S. Marine Corps.
TradeWinds 2015 is a three-phase multi-nation exercise. Approximately 18 nations are expected to participate, and the overall goal of TradeWinds is to share practices with partner nations in order to increase regional security throughout the Caribbean.
During the 2 weeks of training, focus will be placed on three specific areas: counter illicit trafficking of substances and people in riverine, jungle, and maritime environments, peacekeeping, support operations, as well as threats to regional security.
Phase 2 of TradeWinds is broken down into several training tracks. We have the marksmanship track, riverine track, command and control, maritime, and dive.
Talk to us about the dive, for instance, in terms of how different that is from the other exercises that are being undertaken on the terrestrial side of things.
I think any time that you have the opportunity to work with different nations, you take advantage of it and you learn from each other and share your experience and expertise. And I think the dive track is a perfect example of that.
Everybody ready? Yep. All right, do this one again. 2 to the body. March to reload. Shooter, stand by. 3.
Elsewhere on the ground, a group of officers from various countries, including Belize, have gathered at a firing range near Hattieville, where training in small arms, shotguns, and rifles are underway.
Today, the candidates that are going through what we call the personal weapons test number 2. Yesterday and earlier this morning, they went through personal weapons test 1, and the idea is to work at the lowest level and have all the shooters work up to personal weapons test number 4, which is quick aim shooting, which will prepare them for urban operations later on in the week.
Now, I noticed that they're firing long arms, rifles, and they're also firing handguns. Talk to us about the lay of the land and what's taking place otherwise.
Yes, over here on this range is all our rifle shooting. We're firing at various distances, starting at the 100, 200, and then tomorrow we'll actually be firing from the 300 with rundown applications. Over at the 25-meter range, they're firing 9mm at distances of 5 to 7 meters, and then tomorrow we'll be using the shotgun also. The close-range shooting replicates firing inside of a closed confines, like inside of a building, which also they'll start to be training on tomorrow.
Participating for the first time is a lead mechanic from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. The experience, he says, is one he will be taking home and sharing with his colleagues in the Army.
It's quite an experience, being that, it's so far away from home, but the atmosphere is kind of similar to home, being like a lot of sun, vegetation, minus the jungles at home. You don't have jungles of what sort, but pretty much the hospitality of the people and everything, kind of like home.
In terms of the exercises that you're participating in, how has this been able to help you in terms of either developing an existing skill or perfecting that skill?
Developing and perfecting the skill, the techniques that we learned so far, it can be like saying altered, depends on like your armed force or the armed forces way in the country where I'm from the Bahamas. Like we could alter it to our likings, which is most comfortable. But it's definitely an experience that I would truly remember. What is
one of the takeaways that they will be able to leave here with, either learning a new skill or perfecting or honing an existing skill?
I think one of the biggest takeaways is the experience of working with each other in different nations. In the event of an emergency and where we have to work together, it's very important to know that we can work together, and the gaining that experience ahead of time is it's very important.
Reporting for News 5, I am